Hey Worcester, my name is Jacqueline Burmeister and I'm the coordinator of the Worcester Lakes and Ponds program. I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about the programs that we have going on at our local lakes and ponds to keep them healthy and suitable for recreational use. This video is one of 5 in a video series entitled The 2020 State of the Lakes and is an overview of water quality across our lakes and ponds and can be found at the City of Worcester website, worcesterma.gov. In this presentation, we will be going over the programs at our lakes and ponds in 2020, as well as get a preview of what we have in store for 2021. For more information on the water quality results at each of our program lakes, please check out the other videos in the series. Worcester has about 20 lakes and ponds located throughout the city. Be they public or private, big or small, they provide immense recreational opportunities and increased quality of life for all residents. But these water bodies have some environmental challenges associated with city living that threaten our ability to continue to enjoy them. The City of Worcester initiated the Lakes and Ponds program in 2016 in order to better coordinate and facilitate efforts to keep our blue spaces beautiful. The goal of the program is to manage our blue spaces in a way to promote recreation while protecting public health. In order to do this, the program works closely with local, state, and federal level partners and community organizations to monitor and design management plans for our water bodies. The program has 3 objectives: to monitor water quality across all our waterways in order to determine threats to ecology and recreation and how they change over time, to develop and implement management plans for each water body, and, because we are all in part responsible for water quality challenges, to educate people on how to support and enjoy these resources responsibly. We'll start with an overview of how we did all this in 2020. At the heart of the Lakes and Ponds program is a water quality monitoring program, which provides data on our lakes that can be used to determine how we manage them. In 2020, we visited our 4 program lakes at least twice a month, a minimum of 12 times each, between May and November. We took in situ probe measurements of oxygen levels, temperature, pH, and water clarity, as well as samples to be analyzed in a laboratory for total suspended solids, nitrate, ammonia, total phosphorus, and total dissolved phosphorus. Over the course of the year, we took over 1,000 probe measurements across the water bodies, as well as analyzed over 750 water samples. The resulting data has been analyzed and interpreted in 4 separate reports that will be made available on the Lakes and Ponds webpage, as well as summarized in the other 2020 State of the Lakes videos. In 2020, we expanded our monitoring to include fecal bacteria indicators. While Inspectional Services collects these samples already at our beaches to determine if fecal bacteria are present in the swimming area, we collected an additional 46 samples throughout the season in the open water to determine if there were issues in the middle of our lakes. In addition to this, and in collaboration with the Lake Quinsigamond Watershed Association and Commission, we sampled for bacteria at 12 locations over 10 sampling events in and around Lake Quinsigamond. These results were written up and sent to the city and the town of Shrewsbury and are summarized in the Lake Quinsigamond Water Quality Report. At certain water bodies considered to be high risk for harmful algal blooms, we collect samples to measure for cyanobacteria cell counts. These samples are used to determine if beaches are safe to keep open and help us decide when to perform algicide treatments. In 2020, we collected 11 samples from Coe's Reservoir and 13 samples from Indian Lake. Thankfully, we had no cyanobacteria blooms in 2020 and minimal management was necessary. 2020 marked the 2nd year of our participation in a global study on freshwater storage funded by NASA and coordinated by the University of North Carolina. If that's not cool enough, the project also gives us locally relevant information on water levels at our lakes. In 2019, we installed this staff gauge to measure the water level in Bell Pond. Anyone walking by on Belmont Street can then read the gauge and text the water level into the study. These measurements are then lined up with surface area measurements taken from satellites that pass over Bell Pond monthly in order to calculate lake volume. In 2020, people texted in the water level throughout the year over 40 times. With these data, we were able to see differences in water level in the lake between 2019, when the study began, and the much drier year of 2020. To see the results or learn more on how to participate, check out lox.org. Being such a large lake, Lake Quinsigamond is one of the more difficult water bodies to monitor in the Lakes and Ponds program. It may also mean that the discrete monitoring that we do may not be enough to give us an accurate reading of what is going on in real time. For that reason, we thought it would be an excellent opportunity to test some continuous monitoring technology. In July of 2020, for the first time in any local lake, we deployed 2 Frisbee-sized solar-powered buoys in the deep basin that were capable of detecting temperature, turbidity, as well as the pigments associated with algae and cyanobacteria every 15 minutes, 24 hours a day. Being new technology, there were some small hiccups and calibration issues, but we were able to collect a little data and experience for when we are able to deploy them again this year. The goal is to be able to use this data to alert us if there's any unusual activity in the lake that requires our attention. Harmful algal blooms and toxin-producing cyanobacteria are an increasing challenge to our regional lakes and ponds, threatening both local ecology and public health. For this reason, in the lakes and ponds that we have determined to be high risk for harmful algal blooms, we have developed management plans based on the data that we're getting back from these monitoring programs. In 2020, we used a combination of aluminum sulfate and copper sulfate to successfully keep cyanobacteria at safe levels in Coes Reservoir and Indian Lake. Data-driven management, as well as a dry summer, meant that there were no lake closures due to cyanobacteria blooms last year. The Lakes and Ponds program also manages invasive aquatic plants. These weeds threaten to overtake our recreational spaces, crowding out local flora and fauna along the way. Being such an expensive challenge, prevention is an important step. We offer periodic workshops for the public on identifying and reporting invasive aquatic plants. We use annual to semi-annual surveys of our water bodies to check for new invasives and to determine the extent of existing infestations. Because invasive aquatic plants have different life cycles, there is no single solution for getting rid of all of them. We use a multi-pronged approach for treating our invasives in an efficient, safe, and environmentally friendly method. In 2020, at Indian Lake, we used an entirely chemical-free approach, a combination of a drawdown and a manual removal of Eurasian milfoil by a dive team. At Coes Reservoir, we used a combination of mechanical harvesting, hand pulling, and a chemical treatment to address the water chestnut. No chemical treatment was prescribed or performed at Lake Quinsigamond in 2020, nor at Bell Pond. These plans will continue to be adapted to reflect conditions in 2021. To learn more about the details of each plan, you can check out the water quality reports. The Lakes and Ponds program embraced the virtual format in education and outreach in 2020 when it launched the Blue Space Minute, an educational video series on water quality in Worcester's lakes. In total, we've released 9 episodes on topics related to the drawdown, fecal bacteria and beach closures, as well as cyanobacteria. And we don't plan on stopping. Make sure to follow the Blue Space Minute on YouTube to get alerts when a new episode is released. Given the circumstances, we are very excited and proud of what we've been able to accomplish over the course of 2020. We hope to continue this momentum in 2021 with a plethora of new programs and initiatives aimed at tracking lake threats and improving water quality. First, and perhaps the most exciting, is that the Lakes and Ponds program is growing. As of March of 2021, the Lakes and Ponds program has a new team member. Nicholas Pagan, who previously worked in the Drinking Water Division, will be taking over the administration of the Recreational Water Quality Monitoring Program. Nick is not a stranger to the program, and you have probably seen him at other Lakes and Ponds events and programs in the past, and he has periodically assisted in sampling as well. With his main focus being collecting and processing samples, we are hoping to eventually expand the monitoring program's scope in terms of sampling locations, parameters, and season length. We are incredibly excited to have him be part of the team. Nick will also be assisting in the coordination of the Worcester Cyanobacteria Monitoring Collaborative. The WCMC is a group of volunteer community scientists that study algae and cyanobacteria in our local lakes and ponds. While the group took a pause in 2020, we are excited to be coming back to sample more lakes than ever in 2021, with the goal of consistently sampling 20 or more water bodies in and around Worcester. In addition to identifying if cyanobacteria are present, we are also hoping to add another analysis that will help us further determine if a water body is at risk for a harmful algal bloom, as well as develop a method for better communicating our results with the public. We will be taking advantage of a partnership that we already have with WPI, in which we will have a full-time intern during the summer months to work on this project. If you are interested in volunteering for the WCMC, please sign up to attend our information and training session on May 13th on the Lakes and Ponds webpage. To complement this effort, we plan on relaunching our cyanobacteria monitoring buoys this summer in Lake Quinsigamond. After working out the kinks of the system in 2020, we hope to get a full season of pigment and turbidity data. While it is necessary to remove the buoys during the colder months to prevent the system from freezing, we are considering how to continue manual pigment sampling during the winter months so as to better track blooms like the ones we saw this past winter. This year, we will be testing an additional new technology to help us get a clearer picture of water quality in the Tatnick Brook watershed. While currently we only sample several points in and around Coe's Reservoir, we hope to extend sampling up the brook and include other water bodies. One way which we hope to do this is by using continuous monitoring probes. Much like the continuous pigment monitoring devices in Lake Quinsigamond, this device will be able to monitor changes in water quality parameters in real time and transmit the data with a solar-powered cellular signal. We plan on calibrating this device over 2021 at our current Tatnick Brook sampling site and then determining if it can be deployed in other locations. This project is being done in collaboration with the Tatnick Brook Watershed Association, who secured the device. This year, we confirmed the presence of an invasive mollusk, Corbicula fluminea, in Bell Pond. The mollusk had previously been found in Lake Quinsigamond, but the extent of the infestation is not fully understood. The Lakes and Ponds program will be working with Mass DEP and the Lake Quinsigamond Watershed Association to develop a monitoring methodology that we hope to implement as soon as this summer. In doing so, we get a better idea of the extent of the clam, how it is affecting native mollusks, and help prevent future spread in other water bodies. Previously, we had known that litter is a challenge at our lakes and ponds. However, without being able to measure it, it was difficult to know how great a threat it is and if it's changing over time. This year, however, we are partnering with another group of WPI students to determine a methodology to quantify and characterize litter in and around our blue spaces in hopes to determine the best way to reduce it. With the results of our 2020 monitoring program, we were able to update our current lake management plans as well as advance new projects to manage emerging threats. We will continue to adapt our management plans for cyanobacteria in invasive aquatic plants at Indian Lake and Coe's Reservoir, as well as support the invasive plant management program that's overseen by the Lake Quinsigamond Commission. We will continue to monitor the situation at Bell Pond to ensure that neither weeds nor cyanobacteria become an issue there. Currently, for cyanobacteria management at Indian Lake, we use boats to apply aluminum sulfate across the surface of a lake to reduce the total phosphorus that's in the water column. It's safe and it's effective, keeping the lake clear of cyanobacteria in the short term. However, as much of the phosphorus in the lake comes from stormwater entering from Ararat Brook, the next time it rains, phosphorus returns to the lake and begins to nurture the cyanobacteria once again. This past year, we have acquired permits for the construction of the alum dosing station, which will be located at the outlet of Ararat Brook on Shore Drive. This station will gauge rainfall and apply alum directly to the stream as phosphorus comes into the lake, using less chemicals and blocking more nutrients from getting into the water column. This will hopefully result in healthier and clearer waters. We are currently working on the RFP for this project and securing the land to build it. The goal is to construct and calibrate the station in 2021. We will also be addressing the increasing number of beach closures due to fecal bacteria indicator exceedances. We have deduced that the most likely cause of these exceedances is the presence of large number of geese along the shoreline. Goose droppings are full of both bacteria and phosphorus and are not good for water quality. During the months of June and July, geese molt and cannot fly. They tend to walk up onto the beaches from the water and hang out there. This summer, we will be working with the Parks Department to implement a pilot project aimed at reducing congregation during this time without disrupting recreation. After the shift during these 2 months, lifeguards at both Coes Beach and Shore Park Beach will be erecting a short fence in the shallow water, about 1.5 feet high. High enough to stop a goose from entering, but low enough for people to step over if they wish to enter the water. Similar projects have been used successfully elsewhere to deter beach lounging by these water-fouling birds. We will also be posting more educational signage about the purpose of the fencing, as well as signs to not feed the birds. We understand that traditionally these signs don't do enough to explain why feeding birds is detrimental, and so we hope to make these signs a little bit more graphic. While we are fairly certain about the cause of the bacteria events, we have also realized that we do not always take advantage of all the available data to determine if bacteria could be coming from elsewhere and if it's a chronic problem. For example, at Indian Lake, currently, the Department of Public Health monitors E. coli at the 2 beaches, but that's not the only bacteria monitoring going on. The Sewer Division is also taking routine samples at the outfalls around the area, and the Lakes and Ponds programs will have 2 bacteria sites on Indian Lake in 2021. Prior to this year, all the groups were using the data for their own purposes and communication was minimal. This year, we are working on a database that all bacteria monitoring groups can utilize to centralize the results and later visualize them on a map in order to determine if high bacteria numbers are occurring in any particular pattern. In addition to city divisions, we hope to eventually invite volunteer monitoring groups, the town of Shrewsbury, and DCR as users of this tool. In order to address the problem of bacteria and nutrients getting into the lake in the first place, and knowing that stormwater is part of the problem, we are looking at ways that we can filter stormwater naturally before it enters our waterways. On Lake Quinsigamond, we had identified an area with a lot of sedimentation on Lake Ave North in 2019, and in 2020, we were able to secure the necessary permits for the construction of a biofiltration unit near the entrance of Coal Mine Brook. This unit will filter road runoff from Lake Ave North through plantings, mulch, and high-performance media before releasing it into the lake. The capacity of the unit is enlarged by the presence of an underdrain. The contractor has been selected for this project and work should begin in the coming months. The Lakes and Ponds program believes that engaging all lake stakeholders is key to getting the message out on water quality issues. This year, we have partnered with local watershed associations in hopes to engage new and existing local anglers through a 13-event series called the 2021 Blue Space Angler Event Series. These events aim to tie fishery health to water quality and provide a fun and interactive experience to show people all that Worcester's lakes have to offer. The series features both virtually and socially distanced in-person events all year, all over the city, and range from Learn to Fish programs to seminars on food webs. You could learn more and register at wooanglerseries.com. This concludes our overview of the Lakes and Ponds programming in 2020 and 2021. All of this could not be possible without the support of active and engaged community members like you. If you're interested in learning more on water quality at our lakes and ponds, be sure to check out the other videos in the 2020 State of the Lake series, or check out the water quality reports on the Lakes and Ponds webpage, which can be reached with this QR code. If you're interested in getting involved in your local water body, you can check out the links to the watershed associations below. Thanks so much for joining us and helping to keep our blue spaces beautiful.